Hey everybody, sorry about the delay. I was actually having some weird little glitches in the software. I'm not really certain what was going on there, but I'm happy to be here. Hope everybody's doing well. I've been busy. We have had a lot. No filming this weekend though, which was helpful because we really had a lot. Filmed the previous weekend and the week. We had today's game night, date night that we put together, I think was last week. Tonight, this week was the Lord of the Rings, Duel for Middle-earth, which we played on the stream last week on Tuesday, and it's good. I really, really like the game. Sadly, well, I guess I don't want to spoil it, but it kind of ended similarly. So if you watched last week's stream, you'll see that. And it was kind of a bummer because I think I was trying to do something different, but I ended up, it was like, well, this is clearly the path to take if Nikki's not doing it. So it's unfortunate in that regard, but it was really good, and I want to play it more. I thought they did a really great job on it. And it's quick. It's really quick. Once you know the game, and I'm sure we've only played it a few times now because we filmed it, I think, on Monday and then streamed it on Tuesday. And I think we played it a couple times. We wanted to play it a couple times on Tuesday, so I think we played it afterwards and really enjoyed it. Really, really good. I've been painting as well. I haven't had as much time in here as I'd like, but I did paint a few things. So I finished up, let's cut to the table. Oops, wrong one. Let's do the other one. Cut. There we go. Let me put me back. So you can see here I was painting some Howard the Duck. This is just, here, let me zoom in a bit on it. This is just the contrast. Actually, I don't think I used oh no, I did use contrast paint. I specifically used this one here, the Flesh Tearers Red. I lightened it up for the pants. So in my thinking, the vest is like, why is it not focusing? Oh, there's all kinds of shiny things here below. My thinking is the vest is like velvet and the hat is like felt. And so these are more of I may do a little bit more, but there's pinstriping in the original drawing, which I really like. So I will, I think I'm going to leave it as is on the colors on these because they're similar. They are mostly the same. And then coat these with a varnish before I paint the stripes so that they're easily cleanable. I'm excited to try that out. What was the color that they used on it here? It looks kind of like a pinkish color almost for the striping. We'll see. I might do a yellow pink or something like that. So I will I will be using a standard acrylic for that. We'll figure that out in a minute. I also finished, they're mostly finished. Drax here. So this one's kind of where I want to take them. I did an experiment with it and I like the stripes. It's work, so I'm not 100% sure I will. I mean, it was hard. For me, I don't have the flow of the paint to do that. I mean, I've done it. Look, I mean, here's one that I've done that work on like that and had no problems, but it's just I'm trying to paint faster and I want them to be relatively similar, and I think these look great. This one here is the rattle can, and this one is rattle can zenithal primed, and then this is airbrush zenithal primed. They both look great. I'm actually a little disappointed that I don't have. I looked for it, double checked it because I was thinking like maybe I think Scott painted his Howard the Duck. I don't see it in the primed minis. I believe he primed all of his stretch goals box, which is great. I mean, what I wanted to do this weekend was paint by airbrush in here, or outside or in the spray booth or whatever. And I did not have time. It was a real bummer, because I have the new airbrush that I showed you guys on Thursday, which is cool. I've got it set up, it's all hooked up here, but it's not, I haven't used it yet. I haven't cleaned it. That's just one thing I like to do before I use them, because who knows what chemicals are inside these things. As a matter of fact, we could probably just do that. Is it hooked up to that compressor that's especially noisy now? Let's not use cleaner. Although maybe. It's just really strong smelling. I definitely like using the cleaner with the I can do a drop of it. Because it's soap or something, you know what I mean? It's not alcohol, I don't believe. It shouldn't be. Hey Gator Dave. How you doing? I am excited about this new cup. I mean, I think this was the impetus for me buying this, and I really could have, I believe you could, it was $8 a week and a half ago for this little cup, $7.99. The airbrush was a great price. I think it was $59 plus, they gave me this nozzle? Is that what it was? I mean, it's funny. I don't know why I chose that one. I think I thought, oh, I'll just try that nozzle, which I do like because it is easy to clean the tip. The thing is like the nozzle doesn't come out as much, so I can't quite, the needle doesn't come out as much to the guard. So it's a little tougher to clean, but like a Q-tip will do it. But I'm just used to doing this when I use this type of airbrush. I only have a few airbrushes that have that type. Because I'm clumsy, that is the truth. I mean, I drop things and bend things. I have fortunately learned that a long time ago and generally do not, haven't done that seriously. Like this one, it's in the shot here somewhere, this one here, this needle. This was, I looped it because I'm using this to stir paint, to mix it once it's in the airbrush, and it's pretty great because it can get down in the chamber and spin it. But I bent this needle, and it was a tremendous amount of effort to get it out of the airbrush without destroying the nozzle. And I basically had to take apart the airbrush and then, gosh, I don't even remember exactly. You know what? I don't think I did on this one. So this is the number of times I've done it. I've done it twice. Well, 3 times. One time didn't actually harm the airbrush other than the nozzle cap, I think is what they called it. We looked it up on the box. They give you their descriptions of the parts. I think this one actually bent the brass nozzle. And I had to replace that. So that's not so hard. It's a little hard. It has a little tiny wrench for it, and you use beeswax to seal it. I have that beeswax still sitting over here. I'll show you. I bought far too much of it years ago. Doing well for a Tuesday. That's good. It's true. Tuesdays are rough. So this is some beeswax I bought ages ago, from Amazon. Not that ages ago. Obviously, it's got a barcode on it. But I barely used any of it. You can't even tell because I just scraped the threads on it, and that's all it took. I have maybe used it for a few other things over time, but not much because it's really, you need just the one cake. It'll probably last you an entire lifetime. I have 3 cakes of it. Nikki might be able to use it. You can use it for things like batik, and I think you can use it for tie-dyeing too if you want. If you want like to put a design in with that, but that's not something I'm going to do. I've actually I don't think I've ever tie-dyed anything. Maybe once in school. I don't know. I think I'm remembering my friend Sean's like big thing they did with their kids. It was great. They had big bins, and the girls came over and tie-dyed their shirts, and it was really awesome. Anyway, so there's still water in there, and it still holds it. It's pretty great. I could probably put a little bit more. I was going to put a drop or so of airbrush cleaner in there. No chapped lips in the Lincoln and Nikki household. That's true. We could use it for that for sure. Thankfully, I don't have as much of trouble with that. We did go to Disneyland this weekend and checked out, specifically to check out Rise of the Resistance. We went in 2019, December 2019, and it was amazing. That was, probably 5 or 6 months after it opened here in LA. They had or in Anaheim, they had whoa, there goes that airbrush, or the compressor. They had like a reserve, all kinds of reserve stuff. So we just didn't even bother trying, but our friend came to town and we went, which is usually when we go to Disneyland. This time we went with nobody else, which is interesting and fun. We had a great time. But you know, this is the first time I've done as much walking as I have with my foot that was broken in September. What is yours and Nikki's go-to Disney food item? You know what? We didn't do the sourdough bowl with the clam chowder. Clam chowder is not Nikki's favorite. I think they have a gumbo in the other park. You know, what they call Disney Adventure, California Adventure. And that's a cool park. We bought tickets, so we are crazy. We're going to try to go a couple more times. We bought California resident tickets, which wasn't tremendously more expensive than the single day passes. That's what's crazy about that. We went on a day that was not, it was a little wet and not a high attendance day. You know, they kind of have like surge pricing now, which is frustrating, but understandable, except for the extreme cost. Everything is very expensive. So we didn't do that, but we did go. We were crazy. We were trying to do a restaurant. And so here's what we ended up doing. So we earlier in the day had pretzels, which we were very excited about. We really like at least semi-warm pretzels as they were at Disneyland. Oh yeah, I fractured my heel in January. Concerned about my neighbor. She's a very nice lady, 90 years old, and we had a super, super hot heat wave. It was 114, and the power went out everywhere. I was out here, and I learned that the power out here is not fed by the solar panel, which I actually kind of want to talk to them about, because I feel like at least it should be fed by the solar panel. It doesn't have to be on the battery backup, but it should be fed by solar. So anyway, power went out here, went in the house, everything's on. Worried about my neighbor, went over to check on her, locked the gate behind me. The gate is on another power system, and so I couldn't get in, and I foolishly thought, I'll climb this gate, and landed what I thought was perfectly fine, no pain, took a step and fell on the ground. And so I called Nikki. She was at her mom's. She was freaking out. I'm like, I'm okay, take your time, don't worry, I just need to go to the hospital. And so they booted me up, no cast, no surgery. Turns out later on they probably should have done some surgery, which is fine, whatever. My stupidity, I'm doing okay. But I hadn't walked a lot. So we went to Essen, I was on a scooter. Went to BGG-Con, I was on a scooter. You know, I still walked around some. BGG-Con was definitely better, but still too soon, I think. I can't remember, he said 8 weeks. No, BGG-Con should have been okay, but it was still rough. So we had done that and maybe something else. Oh, I went to the convention in January on the 10th when the fires were happening. Didn't realize it was in our neighborhood. Or it was the day after it was in our neighborhood. And I walked that whole day without the thing, without crutches. It was a lot of riding the metro, so that wasn't a big deal. And then convention center was fine. I wasn't walking that much. It was a few blocks from the train station to the, or the metro station to the convention center, and that was fine. It actually, my foot felt better the next day, you know, and then it started to swell up again. I'm still having problems with it swelling up. I'm not sure what's going on. But today, you know, last few days, it's been great. I was in extreme calf pain. My calves were sore from walking for the first time in 5.5 months, really, and for, you know, 20-some thousand steps. And you know, I was trying not to go back and forth, and we just went back and forth so many times. And because we wanted to ride the Rise of Resistance, which, by the way, is phenomenal. Hey, Circe, the ride is amazing. And so what happened was I was trying to avoid spoilers. I said to Nikki I had seen the Imperial Walkers, and she said, well, that's in the ads. I'm like, yeah, but I was trying not to see anything. As soon as I saw something, I think, like that, I'm like, I don't want to watch this, or look at this. But I did read that these animated guns that they do, so they're like guns shooting out the side of the ship, they were like out of commission for like the last 4 years or 5 years. They worked for a little while, and you know, it opened in Florida earlier than it did here. I think the Rise of Resistance did. They did not open it here until January. I mean, it had been going through runs and stuff like that, but we didn't get to ride or anything like that. And we thought about going. We should have gone probably right then, but we didn't. But then I read that they had fixed the guns, and I didn't know what they were. I told my friend Brian, who'd been a few times, and I don't know if he saw them like that. You know, he had passes and stuff like that for a while with him, and it's Brian and Tashi. And I saw that those were working, and I'm like, oh, maybe we should go. Like, because my thing was just like, the ride adapts very easily to problems being, you know, not major problems, but problems in the ride that it just bypasses that section. And so I thought, I really wanted to see the whole ride. And part of my fear was, you know, it's hard to get on the ride, it's very busy. They have things called Lightning Lane now, which used to be like Fast Pass and Genie Pass, whatever. Lightning Lane now costs. So to get Lightning Lane stuff, you have to pay a fluctuating rate of, in this case, it was $32 per day. So I got a discount on the tickets, but then I probably just sunk it right back into the Lightning Lane. But Rise of Resistance has its own Lightning Lane pass where you can buy it for $1. You pay, you could probably pay several times, but that day it was $28, which, you know, we were going to pay because we wanted to ride it. But the first thing we did is we went directly to, hey, I got to fix that. We went directly to Rise of Resistance, waited in about a 50-minute line, which was fine. That's Disneyland. You know, I'm not so crazy that I just got to be able to not wait. But I need to put this in a different way so it's not draining the liquid out. And so we got on the ride, checked it out. It was great. I think everything was working. The guns are phenomenal. I could not imagine it not working, seeing it with them not working. That was really a bummer. And let me do this here. But it was phenomenal. And so we ended up, wow, what was that about? We ended up riding it 4 times. So we went, did that, and then we used the Fast Pass and the app. The app's great. Not only can you see what the wait times on all the rides, you can order food. So that's what we did. We ordered food. I'll get back to the rides in a second. So we ordered the food. We went and had the pretzels and paid cash, which was very weird to not pay cash at Disneyland. That was the one time I used cash. And it didn't even occur to me, like I could use tap. They have it everywhere. And we got the pretzels, froze our butts off, ate some pretzels outside, found a spot that wasn't wet, and then a family of like 12 came up and were like, holy cow. It wasn't that busy, but it was busy still. So then later we went on Star Tours, which is new. They changed that since the last time we went on. Last time I think it was prequels. Now it's sequels, maybe, sort of. Because I guess The Mandalorian's a sequel too. So there were all sequels in there. It was interesting. We had, oh wait, no, we had Cassian Andor. He's a prequel thing, right? Just before the Star Wars, and not really a prequel. So we rode it twice and saw the two. It was basically the same ride for us both times. So they have like multiple segments that can substitute, so there's quite a few variety. We only saw 2, and the front and the end were exactly the same, and the middle piece was different. And then, so we decided to go, we were gonna go back to that ride. First thing we did is Nikki kind of wanted to ride the Tiana's Bayou Adventure, which is a redo of, what was that ride called? Man, it's a Song of the South, so they changed it, which is unfortunate, I understand. 100%, by the way, but the songs are great. So it's a bummer. Gosh, what was that ride called? Anyway, Splash Mountain, that is it, 100%. Thanks, Gator Dave. We didn't get on Space Mountain, though, by the way. That was so busy, and like the app kept saying, the earliest you could get a Lightning Lane was way late, and then it was gone. And so we could have stood in line, but we ended up, like, we have passes. We're going to go a bunch of times. But we said, end of the night, we're going to go one last time on Rise of the Resistance. Is that right? So I guess it was 8, maybe, or something. And, oh no, I know what it was. So I'm looking at Nikki's in the restroom. We're in in Bayou Country, I think is what they call it now. And we're there waiting, and Nikki's got to use the restroom. So I'm looking at the app, and I'm seeing the wait time on Rise of the Resistance drop. And it was like near dinner time, maybe, and maybe some people leaving with lots of children because it was cold and wet. So we go. So anyway, Bayou Country. We go. I said, we're already wet, Nikki. We should ride it. We rode it. Got splashed real bad. It was frustrating. I should cut back to the camera anyway, since I'm talking directly to it. so I think she goes to the restroom after that. Like, the ride was broken down, couldn't get on it, and we're like, what? Well, how does this work? Can we cancel the lightning lane? She goes, you can only use it once. The only way you can cancel it is scanning in. I'm like, okay, boo. So we hung around there. We went on, I guess I went on it once the last time. There's like this Winnie the Pooh, blustery day, dark ride kind of thing, which was fun across the way. And then basically it had opened back up, and we got right on the ride, got really wet. It was interesting. I've seen that movie once, and it didn't seem like it had any of the movie stuff except the alligator, kind of, which it was weird. It was more like she had a restaurant and stuff like that. Anyway, so we see that after the restroom break, 25 minutes, right? So we book over there. Well, again, I didn't want to walk all over the place. So we had to walk basically all the way around the rivers of America, which is much smaller than it is in Florida, but it's still big. Get in there, and the new part of Galaxy's Edge is another piece that's to the west. And so we went on that ride, and then we decided, we waited. It wasn't 25 minutes, it was 50 minutes. By the time we got there, it said like 50 or 60 minutes. We're like, forget it, this is it, we're gonna do it last time. So we get on the ride, get in the wait it out. Then I call my mom at 8 o'clock every night, so I called her, see how she was doing, and told her we had decided to go to Disneyland. And then we get to we decided to hang around. Since we still had time, we were going to do it one more time. We decided we'd do it one more time. And I think it said we were waiting a while. We went into the stores. There's barely anybody in the stores. It's a weird part of the park. They don't have any signage to tell you where Galaxy's Edge is. You're supposed to, I guess, just stumble upon it, which seems very weird to me, particularly with all the sales of stuff in there. And they have some amazing stores in there. I did not build a lightsaber. I would like to build a lightsaber. Hey, I did edit but not the rest. Good job, Lincoln. I'll do it in a minute. So we were hanging out, and then finally it was near 9 o'clock, and it said 60 minutes. I'm like, let's just go. We'll do it one last time. It'll be fine. We get over there. We literally walk on the ride. There is nobody in front of us. We get directly to the loading, to the briefing area, and it happens, and we're on the thing. And we got to witness like dynamic changes. They had, so I believe you are in a vehicle that moves because you're in a completely different spot. Like, there's no way the two spots are there. So it was super smooth, and usually we felt like there was a little bit of motion. And they said something in the ride, like it was basically, I keep wanting to call him Cole, but it's not that. Anyway, it's Mon Calamari pilot. And he says something about, like, we're hearing blah, 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 and like they say it's okay to go, because it was a long time before we moved. And so then we moved, and it didn't feel like there was any action in the, like, your shuttle moving. But then as you're being tractor beamed, we felt a little bit. So that was the thing we saw. The other awesome thing is they have day and night versions of that ride. So at nighttime it was different than it was in the daytime. Tiny, but it was still cool. And then we literally got on the ride, and then we got out, and I go, well, we'll probably go now. And Nikki's like, are you sure? And like, she goes, I said, well, do you want to go? And she's like, well, I think you do. And I'm like, you know, I'm tired. I'm like, okay, let's go. So we go on. It said 15 minutes at that point in time, and it was like 10 minutes. So there was a tiny bit of wait just before the briefing room. So it was amazing. So we rode it 4 times. Brian was freaking out that we had a 10-minute wait. And I said, well, we had a better than 10-minute wait. We literally, there were people running to get on. I'm like, one guy was like banging into stuff. I'm like, why are you running? There's nobody behind us, and there's nobody ahead of us. And he ended up being behind us in the loading. I don't want to spoil the ride if you haven't seen it, but it was really awesome. Really, really amazingly done. The only bad thing really was the animatronics. Sadly, I mean, I don't remember his name. This Mon Calamari was awesome. Movement was great. Kylo Ren is amazing, but Hux is really terrible. Like, it's scary, like how bad it is. I feel like they just felt not important. He's not facing us. He doesn't need to face us. So we had like because it's got 2 versions of the ride, same ride, but from 2 different angles, let's say. And so we had both angles in the multiple rides we did, and I couldn't see Hux when we were on the right-hand side of the bay. On the left-hand side, he looked towards us, and boy, it looked terrible. And then when you see Finn, he didn't look so great. Now, he's got a super bright light on him, and I tried to take a picture, and it was terrible. I probably should have shot video. I could have probably controlled a little bit better, but it was great. 100% fantastic. Park is still fun. The only thing that I think basically ruins the parks are the extreme fans. They go so much, and I totally don't blame them. I had an annual pass 20-some years ago when I was in school. When Nikki was really in school, I actually had a job at that time, so I was just out of school. And me and my aunt, who lived in Laguna Niguel, would meet there. After work, I'd go meet her, we'd have dinner, and then ride a couple rides. So I didn't really exploit the pass like I should have, but it did include parking. It was $200. I know it's more than, it's thousands of dollars to do that now, or over at least $1,000. But it was awesome. Really, really cool. Super happy we went. We'll go a couple more times. But I'm super happy because my ankle, still a little tender, but like not the swelling's down. It's the same kind of reaction I had to going to the convention center for the computer show. So I need to get out and walk much, much more, like extended amounts of time to really get this to work. Let me spray this real quick to clean this. I don't know why I'm doing it, because I'm going to not use it, I don't think, today. I don't want to use it on the stream. It's kind of hard. I don't want to... Yeah, I can smell the soapiness. I don't like this. So you can hear the compressor is much noisier. I'm going to put it underneath here and hopefully not drop it like I did the last time. But it's like, it's not working right. Wow, it's terrible. I don't know if I want to buy another one. It's actually pretty cool, but it is super fragile, and I dropped it. So I didn't drop my airbrush, but I dropped that. That was on the stream that I airbrushed recently. Wow, I bet you can't hear any of this crap. Let me see if I can make this quieter. I don't need to do this much more, but literally, so what has happened is there must be some sort of leak up here at the top. Because if I do that, it holds it together, and it's traditional levels of, it shuts off. The other way it won't shut off. So I think I could probably fix it, but as you can see, I glued it. There's some crazing there. But it's screwy, and I couldn't take the top off. I tried to, this is where I think the issue is. This all came apart when it fell apart, but whatever's happening up here is the problem. I'm not I would like to have another reason, and one of these I will probably end up using it outside like I normally do. And then I will be able to, it won't matter, but I still would, I don't know. I have a compressor for outdoors as well. I have a compressor right beside me and a compressor outdoors, so I don't know. Anyway, so let's get back to these. So the other thing I painted though, so I was saying I painted this weekend. I worked on, this was day before yesterday, so I guess Sunday night I worked on these, and I will continue with that. This was what I painted over the weekend. I had painted Scott's Nebula in 2022, and so I decided to try to do these, and I don't remember exactly what Scott's looked like. I have more purple options than he would have had at that time, and they look pretty good. I was kind of frustrated, so we were watching one of the Marvel movies, and Nebula's head was, like it was purplish in the one. And I looked at the picture that they had, and I kind of maybe realized that maybe this center part was just deeper blue. So that's just what I went with. And I think it looks good, but I was really disappointed. This is the paint I used. Contrast Pilar Glacier. It is so transparent. I'm not really certain what its use case is, because you can make paints translucent by adding more of the medium. So I started out putting more medium in it initially, and I'm like, wow, this is too thin. So I'd already done like 4 or 5 coats. So there's a ton of coats on here. It's going to really need varnish to protect it, because it's the paint is not super durable. So you'd think this many coats, it'd be rock solid, but I bet you would tear easily. Anyway, I'm happy with her. I had painted her regular blue, and then overnight thought about it, and I'd painted her lips like a little bit of purple, and then went back and just decided to make that blue stripe. And it turned out cool. There's still a little bit more to do on them, but it's mostly done. I actually want to paint the varnish, excuse me, not the varnish, the Black Templar that I used. Black Templar is something to do on the bases that Adam showed me on one of his streams. And he is correct. When you use the black paints, they usually are kind of, let's see, we can look at them here. This one's pretty good. I thin it differently than I used to, but still, I end up using it. So yeah, you can maybe see here, it's got a little bit of brush action, and it's weird. It's matte, and it's a little bit more sheen. So you put the, I don't know if this is Adam's ultimate reason for doing it, but it's the reason why I do it. It smooths out the finish of those so much better. I mean, these look great. They're consistent, other than this bad part where I didn't file it down. I did back a, let me just change the thingy here. So I did back a Kickstarter for some tools. I don't know if they're meant for Gunpla particularly, but I use nippers. I have these ones from Games Workshop, Citadel, that are the old versions. I don't even have the newer versions. You know, it's a double blade, so it does an okay job. It's flat on the back. But anyway, there's a Kickstarter for something called Slice that has replaceable blades. I've been contemplating buying a better trimmer, but they are like $60 and they are notoriously fragile. I mean, that's for the God Hands one. I don't even know if I need those. Let me cut to the, oh, it's there. Let me put some guys in the shot so you can see something here while I'm doing this. I'm hoping they're good. They did not show, they show how easy and nice it slices. They showed nothing of a part that is trimmed off of a sprue or a runner. And I wrote and asked them, like, hey, can we have an example of that? Because I would like to know. I don't want to spend that. I love the idea that it has replaceable blades. It has two types of blades you can put on it, so you might want to buy two of them. One that will cut through metals and one that will cut through plastics. Plastics you don't want to use. I actually have wire cutters here and nippers. I have many types of lower end nippers. I've never spent a lot of money. These things are as little as $49, and the one I bought was $75, $74 supposedly. It was $69, but for some reason, because I'm in the US, it was $5, and I don't believe it was shipping. We'll see what happens. I saw some other comments. It's not that much more terribly expensive, and it includes replacement blades, and I will probably add more to the thing if it goes. If they send some pictures, it needs to flush mount, flush cut. I do not want to be spending that kind of money and having something else to trim it close to the model. You know, so I used recently the traditional cutters. Actually, I didn't use any cutters on this yet. This is one of the sprue piece connection points to the sprue. I used the new GW. I had some minis that were part of a game that they sent me, and I was very happy because it had the new push to remove from the sprue, and I got to tell you, it's pretty amazing. This does require a little filing. This side does not. Actually, I might have fixed that side. I feel like it looks like I did sand it a little bit. But it's very close, very, very close. I want it to be closer than that if I'm actually going to use nippers. And so I'm eager to see what they come back with on it. It was awesome. Seriously, he's asking what other rides we had a great time with. We rode everything we were excited about. We rode Pirates of the Caribbean, only once. We rode Haunted Mansion twice, I think. No, we did not. We could have ridden. Oh no, maybe we did. I don't remember. I didn't understand the app. I watched the guy's video the day before, and he gave a lot of great information, but I still was like confused. The app is great, but it's not clear. Like, am I in the lightning lane thing? And I thought, I looked at this ride, it didn't have any lightning lane options, so I thought, wow, you can't get another ride as soon as you're done. Because I had understood that you can sign up for another one as soon as you check in on one. And I didn't see that, but then later, after we were done waiting for the Haunted Mansion, it wasn't a terribly long wait, but it was the one of the rides we got most wet on when it was raining. because it was mostly outdoors waiting. And that was the whole new queue that they had, which was fine. I don't feel it's any better or different. I mean, it's definitely different, but I don't think it's great. It's awesome. It's fine, but but the ride is still awesome. We usually end up going during the holidays, so it's always the Haunted Mansion holidays. So this time was just the regular one was great. Hey, David. It's been crazy here too. So let me see. I got Editcom Marvel United. Let me just get the listing. I would think I'm on board Game Geek, but I am not. And I bet you I'm not signed in on this computer. I am not, but I don't need it. We had a great time though. It was, you know, we usually go with others, which is perfectly fine. My mom was like, "You guys went by yourself?" I'm like, "We did." Brian had said if he'd had his passport, his annual pass, he'd have gone with us. And I think he was pretty impressed with the wait. I was really happy to get their information because he and his wife, I called them and the night before, and ooh, I didn't do that. And we were real happy to check it out. I mean, it's great. The ride is really cool. I don't dislike the sequels as much as I used to. I liked the first one. When I first saw it, I was a little disappointed in the first one because I felt it was Star Wars, just being Star Wars again. And it sort of was, but it's fine. I can deal with it. The casting is really actually quite great. I think that that's where J.J. Abrams is really good. He can cast well. I don't think he's as great. He's a remixer in my opinion. And when he came back and did Rise of Skywalker, I just was like, I was number one disappointed, number two, way more disappointed once I saw it. Now I can watch it, and I have watched it a couple times since it came out, but it was a disappointment. It really wasn't that great. But we went on that. We went on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. We only rode one Fantasyland ride because those rides are always busy, always slammed. I think it's Peter Pan that's always the most busy, so we would have loved to have ridden that one. And I think they've done a little bit of changes on those. I know they're doing some change. There's some things in Florida. Nikki's never been to Florida, Disneyland or Universal Studios. I didn't go to Universal Studios, but I've been to Florida Disneyland a few times. Once when I was 10, 12. And then once again, I don't remember why we went. Because usually there's like a reason for us, my family, for traveling. But we went with our family, had a great time. We were thinking that was probably my mom's last time she went to Disneyland, or any Disney park. I was remembering, you know, I have this great memory of going to the park on a rainy day with my mom's my grandmother, and it was an amazing time. Probably the best day I've ever had at Disneyland. You know, and the park was much, much different than it is now, but we walked on every ride. It was amazing where it was raining, but it was like raining when we were on rides. So we would get off the ride and there would be no rain. We did go on Space Matterhorn, which was great. Oh, that's the other cool thing. So what we figured out in the end there is if you pay attention to the app, the queue, for whatever reason with the lightning lane, resets. And so I'm like, hey, let's go right now to Matterhorn and get on. Because we were close and got right on the ride, rode it. It was great. Didn't get really very wet. We did use it for Big Thunder. Got a tiny bit wet. What was the other one? It was Matterhorn and something else reset, and we raced over to do it. Man, I don't remember. I'm trying to think, what else did we ride? But it was another forever, like it was going to be out. Oh, Indiana Jones. And they had redone that ride recently with a bunch of new stuff. And they're making a new one in Florida that is, I guess, maybe kind of the same system. I don't know, but it's supposed to be different. So maybe it's going to be completely different. Those two rides, Rise of Resistance and Indiana Jones and the Curse of the Temple Eye, I guess is the name of it. Those are really high-tech and amazing. Really, really cool. Anyway, so there you go. We did not do Runaway Railway. We actually stood right by it. And now I know nothing about that ride. but it was packed, and no lightning lane. I keep wanting to call it fast pass. No lightning lane for the day, and that was later because we actually tried. We did go into Toontown and tried to ride the Roger Rabbit ride just to do it because we hadn't done it in a while, and it was. We waited a long time. I mean, this is where I don't like the system because they basically call anybody else not using lightning lane standby. I'm like, standby? And we were waiting forever on that ride. Turns out there were problems, and so finally the ride just stopped, and we had to leave. And some poor folks that were in with their little rascals behind us, the cart, the little motorized wheelchair. Which Brian was like, you probably should ask, maybe do that. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it, and I don't like it. I mean, I'm not completely injured and can't get around, so it wasn't worth it. And I feel much better, even though my calves were 2 days in the recovery. So we had to leave that, and so we went over to that railway, and then I hear it's amazing after we left. I don't watch the park stuff anymore. I'm number one, I don't feel so great on, like, my back got tweaked a couple times on. So 5 years ago, when we went with our friend, we went to both parks, and the Guardians of the Galaxy had this very hammering kind of thing with the, it's excitement, dipping and stuff. And Rusty hurt himself on that ride, and so it was already in the back of my mind, and I hurt my tailbone. Like, wow, this sucks. And it wasn't permanent damage, but I still have problems with it 5 years later. It's just aggravated. And so we didn't go on that, and then I got nauseous I think immediately on that, we went on the roller coaster, the Incredible, whatever heck it is. And then we went on the Ferris wheel, and my friend, she chose to go on the swinging side, and I was just done. She wanted, the people across from us were talking about churros. It was making me sick. I'm like, oh my God, stop talking about churros. And I love churros, don't get me wrong, but, we did the beignets. So we got the pretzels, ordered the beignets, which are just donuts. We know that. But that was cool. The app, we just went on Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that and came back and got our stuff. You can say when you want to pick it up. Then we didn't eat anything. Do we have lunch? I don't know what we did. I feel like we had one more meal. But anyway, then we ate at the pretzels at that one place. So I guess we had the beignets first, then pretzels. Then the final thing we did was we wanted to eat. We were in Fantasyland, and we're like, I want to eat. And we looked at the Red Rose, whatever it is, and it was okay, but it wasn't exciting. And the prices are actually not as horrible as I felt. Maybe they are more in line with things. Plus the food is actually pretty good now. But I said to Nikki, I want to get a turkey leg. I've never had one. I've only been to Renaissance Fair once, and I didn't get that. I don't even know if that was a thing back then. Now, I got to tell you now, after having had a turkey leg, no way am I going to buy one and walk around and eat it. But we ended up ordering from another thing over in Fantasyland, but near the Matterhorn. It was called the Edelweiss Inn or something like that. And then went back and got a seat at the Red Rose Tavern or something like that. It was the food was great, but we sat in there and then we felt bad because now we ordered our drinks there because we didn't want to carry drinks around and stuff like that. We got larges, so we were enjoying ourselves. But there were people waiting to get in the lines. It was terrible, to get there, to get a place to sit. It was just awful. And of course it was wet, so so people were, of course, wanting to just take it easy. There was a lot of people waiting around longer than we did. Sitting around longer than we did. But it was fun. So we got that plus a pretzel bun brat with cheese. And Nikki does not like things like that with cheese, and she really liked it. It was we really hit it out of the park on that one. So it was fun. And they were great, both of those things. The turkey was great, but man, it's got all this very tough parts that are little blades in the turkey. And Nikki's like, we've never had that with turkey before. I'm like, who knows? This is a big turkey leg. But But it was great, and we had a great time. It was all great. It's Disneyland. I've been on tons of those rides. They don't change it. I mean, definitely Mr. Toad's Wild Ride hadn't changed it at all. That was the other ride we got wet on. But it was fun. That was all really a good time. But I do want to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I do want to check that one out. I don't know what it is. I'm imagining it's like a new kind of dark ride. I also don't like spoiling any of that stuff. We had been on, gosh, it's so funny. I think the Dick Dale version of Space Mountain was in the 90s when I went with the pass. I feel like that was then. And that shows you, we have been many times, probably a good, many times, 5 or 6 times at least since then. We used to have friends that, my friend Mike passed away a few years back, very tragically young. It's really frustrating. But anyway, he and his sister, before she got married, they would come down and we would go to the park once a year. And because, they wanted to go to a delicatessen because they didn't have any good delicatessens up in the Bay Area. They moved up there from our area. And so we'd always do that, and the delicatessen and some other stuff. It was fun. But we also went a few times with friends. I literally, when I bought the annual pass, I went with Nikki's class. So she was at Art Center, she was in a ride show, it was like, like a class that she designed a queue. I have like a Cerebus sculpture around here by me that she had done. It's right there. For that thing where she did a ride queue, and that was part of it. It was really cool. She didn't go any further with that, but it might have been fun. She wasn't thinking about it then, but we have friends now that either know or worked as Imagineers. So she could have gone there. It would have been interesting. Lots of really awesome stuff and ladies doing cool jobs. The lady that ran the Shanghai one is Chinese family. It was really awesome for her to go do that. They have a bunch of that stuff on Disney Plus about the parks. So that was awesome to see. And I would love to do those. When I was in Japan, I skipped going to Disney Sea, I guess it's called, plus the park at Tokyo Disneyland, because I thought we were going to go, Nikki and I would be going, and we almost went in 2020. But I do want to go there. I have a friend that has done all of them, which is awesome. We also have some friends that did that. Did I do it? Okay, I did. We did not get to go to the Galactic Cruiser, Star Wars Galactic Cruiser. We had some friends that went, so they're in the select few. It was just so expensive. And I was questioning the whole thing without knowing anything about it, really. And then I watched Jenny Nicholson's thing, which was unbelievable, like over 3 hours, documentary about her experience there, which she put out after the ride closed. So she'd been working on it for a long time and finally decided that it was worth doing, even though the ride had already closed and it was kind of a failure. I have not talked with my friend about, we don't see them that often, but we saw them a couple times over the holidays. But I didn't have time to really grill him about the ride and about the experience and how it went. We had some friends that went like right away and paid the extra money for the more deep experience. I don't really know what that entails. I believe they had a good time. I know our friends had a great time with their 2 kids. It's pretty amazing. I think it's sad that they couldn't figure it out, and that they gave up so soon. I feel like, wow, why did you guys give up so soon? I think having the phone on that is bad. Keeps making buzzing noises. Let me look at it. But yeah, I want to go. Again, I'm looking forward to it. We have 2 more visits, and we'll probably Nikki's, she's prepared. It's cool. I'm glad she had a great time. I was very happy. I was worried that I might have been forcing the thing, you know. It wasn't Valentine's Day. I chose not to do that. I thought that would be crazy. And it probably was. They actually had some events. That's what kind of adjusted our planning on it, because they had some Valentine's events that started in the evening. And so the park closed early, which, you know, we're in Southern California. We're used to that because they used to do, like, I think I went to a couple of those type of events. TRW night, which I don't even know if TRW is still around. Probably got bought by Boeing or something. They closed the park down early, and they're open till late. This is during like the regular kind of year when they're not open late, so it's a little chilly usually. But it was just people that were paying to do, you know, part of that sponsored evening. They probably don't do those as much, but those are fun. My favorite thing we ever did, though, was twice we went on. This is when I was young, but we went without my parents, so they were late 80s. Open 72-hour events. So that you pay for one ticket. It was not terribly expensive, and it was the first one I think we went on was Star Tours, I believe, when that opened up. And then we went to Captain EO, which was, you know, the Michael Jackson themed ride that I think Francis Ford Coppola directed. I don't know, it was crazy. It was interesting. We were wondering if there was something in that theater. They had a Honey, I Shrunk the Audience thing a few years back. I don't know if they still do. Probably not. But it was, you know, like our first, like, really good kind of IMAX level 3D stuff that was awesome. But we had a good time. It was really worth it, and I know Scott would enjoy it. He is not a fan of standing in line, and I have to say I don't blame him, but they do have like an even more expensive thing now, where, at least according to the app, it's from $400 to $600, meaning, of course, surge pricing. You can get like an unlimited lightning lane pass, and what I suspect that is you basically, any ride that has lightning lane, you get to use it infinitely. But it's $32 to do one of each, not counting both the Cars racer thing, which is awesome too, by the way. We did that in 2019. And the Rise of the Resistance. Those two rides have... we did do Smuggler's Run, which is cool, but here's the thing. All the Star Wars ones feel like... they feel like Star Tours, but XL, including Rise of the Resistance. But, you know, in Rise of the Resistance, it's massive. You know, things change a lot. But it's the same kind of story, you know, sort of. And definitely Smuggler's Run and Star Tours. Now, the difference is, and I didn't know this, we rode it once, and we had a family that backed out of going in another ride to ride with us, unfortunately. Now, meant we weren't controlling the ship. And it was exactly the same experience. I sat in the exact same seat as the previous time I'd ridden it. Maybe rode it twice the last time we were there, and I think we had the same experience both times. Now, I don't need to ride as the pilot or anything like that, but, you know, the poor... I think they wanted his son to do it, but his son ended up shooting, and the mom was flying, and she did not do a great job, and it's not her fault. But the... Hey, Dutch Yoda. I hope you got my email. So Brian rode the Smuggler's Run one time. He gets nauseous on roller coasters too now. He went on Smuggler's Run while his wife and Jess and Tashi were going on Space Mountain. And, you know, that maybe I shouldn't ride Space Mountain. I don't know. I think we did ride it, though, that last time we were there. But anyway, he got on the ride, and for some reason, there was nobody there. Like, there were people on the ride, and he somehow got into an area where he was the only one, and they just set him on the ride. And so he rode as the pilot, and he believes all the other positions were just maxed out at 100%. So the only failure level that you're going to have is your own. And the ride changes. At the very end, you get involved in a TIE fighter battle, which sounds amazing. And he said the only way you're really going to probably ever get to experience that is if you go with a group of 6, because that's how many positions there are in there. It is pretty nice, too. I mean, the ride, everything in that land is amazing. It looks legit Star Wars. Probably better looking than the sets look in some cases. That Millennium Falcon is amazing. The X-Wings are amazing. The TIE Fighters are amazing. All this really cool stuff. And the sense of scale is pretty... What really is crazy about that is you don't see the other park. You don't see any of the other Disneyland. They have so much stuff blocking, like palm trees and everything. It's really amazingly done. So yeah, we'll go again. But I do want to do it. We are not as crazy as, I mean, I like Disneyland, and I always have. I've said for the last 20 some years, it's a torture test for adults especially. But it is, when you get to do it, and ours was a truly fantastic experience. We will definitely try to ride the ride again, but we probably won't have as much fortune as we had. And there's no need to pay the extra money. So the $28 each person extra to just ride that one ride basically paid for our meals for the most part. Oh, that's right. We ate breakfast before. So the one challenge about going to Disneyland here in Southern California is just the traffic. And, you know, weekend traffic is definitely not as better. You think it might be, but it isn't. And we headed out early, having not been able to get to sleep early, even though we were trying. I had things I needed to do. And then the goal was to get there. Brian said, do not worry about getting there at the rope drop, which is what they call the opening. But just get there about by 10 or so, 9 o'clock or so. Because that opening time is 8. And there is an early entrance you can pay more for, especially if you stay, at least it used to be. Oh yeah, that's another time we went. We went to California Adventure and maybe the other park. We went with some friends, and then we actually split off from them because they had already been there for a few days. And so we just finished it up their time, and then they stayed in Disney. We went to lunch, and they stayed in downtown Disney. For the, do some stuff and then went home. But we stayed in the, it had to have been that time, we stayed in the Grand Californian, which was a very nice hotel at the time. It was at least 15 years ago, probably more like 19 years ago. I can't remember, because we did also go to to Legoland with them, which was really fun. The only time we'd ever been to Legoland. And I'm sure that place is different too. It's really for kids, but it's still neat, and the Lego stuff, which we were huge fans of, is really awesome. Okay, thanks, Dutch Yoda. I'll tell you a little bit more. I'll mail you about why that's helpful for me. So there you go. Those are primed. I mean, those are done. They need to have varnish. We'll get to that. So let's get back to Howard the Duck. Well, I can try paint. I for whatever reason, and it's not like I sit any differently. It's not like I have a camera over my shoulder or anything like that. It's just overhead. But I have some issues with getting things smooth. The coat and the coat and the pants. This is a coat, not a cape or jacket. They're pinstriped. So I'm going to try to do that. I had a great time doing it on Kingpin on the one time I've painted him so far, but I do have him to paint twice still again. But I'm going to try to do this with a satin varnish brushed on. I don't want to do I think a matte varnish, so it might be fine too, right? The pants could be a little bit more sheen to them. But satin is very, in my opinion, very shiny. But I will put some varnish on the pants, which means I'm not going to paint it too soon. I mean, I can, once it's dry to the touch, probably paint on it. Wow, I don't know, maybe satin is not the right choice. That should be. It's not gloss. I mean, because when I do gloss, paint doesn't stick to it very well. Satin theoretically should. I might put a drop or two of matte varnish in here too, or ultra matte. I mean, it's generally what I do anyway, because the shinier the varnish, the more durable it is to your touch. I will say though, the thinnest one is the ultra matte. I need to get, I think AK Interactive has varnish. I mean a thinner. I should get their thinner. But yeah, we were shocked. So Brian didn't know about the Star Tours changes, and you know, it was all kind of new to us because they are a little bit more actively changing the park. It's not right, you know, sitting so stagnant design-wise. I don't know. It's all very strange, and you know, they are super profitable because of that, of the parks, and that's cool and everything. But man, it is expensive. I could not even imagine that family of 12. There were a few that probably were free, you know, the under a certain age ones, but not many. And I saw another family of 2. I feel like it were 4 kids. One of them was very young, so they would not have had to pay the full pop there. Wow, I probably don't need this. Well, I'm going to paint both the coat and the, maybe I'll do 2 coats. I'm going to paint the coat and the pants. So I'm using AK Interactive varnish. I really like their varnish. Come on, focus. It's these shiny handles. Not good. I really like their varnish, but they're, I don't know, not great. So it's funny, I have this playlist on I never remember the name of this. It's Epidemic. It's this company out of Sweden that has lots of original compositions that you use for your themes and stuff. And so, you know, we use some themes that others have used. I watch some other content creators that use some stuff from it. And it's funny to hear them. I think somebody has said when we have live stream, whatever music we're playing at the beginning is something that those folks use. But I never drill down into the, I have like a very long playlist that I put together, and it seems to repeat soon. So what I figured out today was you basically need to load the entire playlist for it to keep going in, because it's not, I don't think it's set to random. I think it's just play everything in order, which isn't necessarily great because I picked some artists that I've found on there that are pretty cool, and it was just funny. So now this is all new because I drilled in and went halfway down the list, and after realizing that was the situation, I was like, why is it repeating? I feel like I have a ton of music on there. And I do. So the reason why I'm putting on the varnish is to allow me to more easily remove any, if I make a bad mark. You know, the other thing is you can always just paint the edge of what pinstriping you're doing. And it's not that hard, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same color. It is good if you do it at the same time, but you know, you do need to let things dry, and so it's not going to be easy. Oh, I didn't bring the wet palette in here. I've used that new palette a few times now. It's cool. I changed the paper the other day, and then didn't end up using it that day. But it's cool. And I want to see how it goes with more my style. It's smaller in some ways. It's a little longer than the one I used because I have the small small version of the They do have a beginner version of something, of the Redgrass one, version 2 stuff. And because I had the big one originally, and they changed the sizes. It's unfortunate because I would like to get the same palette paper for the other large one. I mean, I can get it probably and resize it. Let's see. So it's already drying up pretty good. I'll let it dry for a moment while I do the other one, and we'll see where we're at. But yeah, it was good. It was good to go. I had been wanting to go since we went into 2019, because I was really eager to see the Rise of Resistance. I knew that was the big deal ride for that area, and it is truly amazing. Oh, so I didn't tell you. So at the end, well, after we ride it twice, so we rode it once, it was no wait. Then we rode it again, it was like a 10-minute wait in the queue just before the loading area, basically. We leave, and I'm like, hey, let's just go this way where everybody's going over here. And it's a very quick walk, and all of a sudden, I'm where I was standing, waiting for Nikki at the restroom, and we could have just walked 5 minutes to the ride and probably gotten on maybe in the shorter run, you know, because everybody's paying attention to those apps. And when there's an opportunity to ride the one that's the most difficult one to get on and most expensive to use a lightning lane on, but we were happy to see that at least we know where it's at now. Because the mapping stuff is, while it's perfectly fine, it's hard to do on our phone, like to really see stuff. And but we were knocked out. It was pretty great. And we know some more stuff because it's been a while. We used to love, I don't know if Carnation still has the same, I doubt it has the same menu. It used to be in a different spot, but they had like basically what we felt were like In-N-Out style burgers that were very good. And you know, for the time that was really good because the park, basically only the Blue Bayou had decent food. Now it's all over the place. It's quite a bit of interesting stuff and lots of vegetarian options, which was really cool. But it's cool. We had a good time, and we will go again. But I was saying it might be one of the last times until we go to Florida that I go to the park, because it is crazy. So, you know, we get there early. We had breakfast outside the park, and then we got to the park not much after opening. Got to the parking lot not much after opening. So we still were pretty early there. And but it was a good choice because we didn't spend so much for food. It offset a little bit of the cost because it is definitely expensive. Wow, it is cold. Should not be so cold. But yeah, we got to pay more attention, and we'll probably do one day of the other park. Anyway, Scott's having some issues. These are great. I mean, I like this mini. When I first saw it, it really looked clumsily sculpted, and it probably is. But I like it a lot more now that it's got some paint on it. So yeah, the coat is taking a while. So I'm gonna probably paint his feet and his bill. Let's see how that goes. What's going on there? There's like a little bit of white. I'm in a little dark spot. That could have been anything. Actually, it looks like it's a little chunk out of it. Like the mold isn't totally perfect. I did use the, so I resculpted once again, the ear for Squirrel Girl was broken. Really upset me. Again, like exactly the same as mine, same ear. Scott's, for whatever reason, probably because he took it out of the darn tray, didn't break. I couldn't, we looked for the part like in case it fell there, so I'll show you mine that I painted previously. Same thing, I sculpted this ear. I tried to use the Milliput. It's not really a sculpting, it's a filling tool in my opinion. Now, I don't know. I think I did a better job on the new one. It's more like the other. They're both good though. And then, where's Scott's? Scott's is perfectly fine. It's just so frustrating. I feel like it's right here. It must be already pulled out. Let me look. There it is. Yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's so bright. And then here's what my newly sculpted one looks like. It's cool. So I ended up doing what I did on the previous one, although this time I actually put a little piece of paperclip in there and sculpted a piece of the plastic sprue. So this is this it? Did I save it elsewhere? Yeah, this is it. So this is the push off sprues that they have now with little arrows to tell you where to break it off. This is GW. I don't know what they're going to use these for, maybe just the basic stuff, but I really like the setup because it's got these little arrows that tells you where to push. Where did I, oh, so you can see I trimmed it off right here and then turned it into an ear, sculpted it in. It worked out pretty great. I used a pin vise. I used a pin vise to make the divot in the ear and then sculpted it, and they turned out pretty great. So I'm very happy, saddened that I had to do it again, but hopefully this one will stay on there a little more tough, you know, because it's a piece of metal in there. But yeah, they're cool. I just don't understand why Scott's survived and the others did not. And it's fragile. Like, you drop these things, you do not want to drop them. I've had now, this one popped out of the base, just cleanly popped out. So I just super glued it back in. This one broke and I actually had to pin it back on. This is how it connected. So these two pieces were separated. It was cleanly broken off at the bottom of the camera, and you can kind of see my patch job there. But I pinned it into the thing, and it should be fine. But it is a little frustrating, and I had to pin I don't think he's in here. I mean, I always have it. Where is it? I think we put a bunch of minis away, which was very good. Yeah, this is not. So this one kind of leans more than the others too. I don't really know. You know, they glue this piece into this. You can, and I think it had broken both of the little stems one time, and so I pinned one in and glued the other, and it worked pretty good. But this is not the one. You can see the hole where I drilled through the bottom to put the pin vise into, to drill the hole for the pin to go into. Okay. Let's dry them pretty quick, but I still do not want to mess with that until the coat is fully dry. And the pants are still drying on this guy here. But I do like this red. I was kind of disappointed. I don't know that there's, maybe Slaughter Red here might be similar. It probably is. It's a deep red. I ended up cheating the color a little bit by putting a little touch of purple in there. Feet and bill. Let me feel that. Can I feel it? Does not feel like there's a notch there. Feels like something happened with the paint. So I will Put a tiny bit of gray on there. And I feel this works pretty great almost every time. I almost never have any issues. Because it doesn't match 100% the gray almost ever. And I almost never get any paint out of this anymore. We did watch the SNL thing, and that was pretty interesting. It felt to me like a regular show. The quality was about the same level of some really funny stuff, but you know, yeah, it's definitely a drop of paint or something. Okay. Something else is buzzing. What's going on? Okay, so I think I should start with more of a yellow. Maybe I'll use this Iandon yellow, which is kind of an orange, for the bill, and maybe use one of the darker, like Griffhound orange, which I forgot I even had this orange. Like, it was one of the first colors I got, I think. I was like, we don't have a yellow, we don't have an orange, but I mean, I felt this was sort of the best hybrid of the both. It ended up being perfectly fine. I think that's mixed. So I do put the mixing bowls that I got from Monument Hobby. They're good. They're smaller. I have not opened, but actually I can probably do one. Is there a bottle right here? I've never actually pulled it out. Or I might have pulled it out. Now I'm thinking about it. I did see scale difference. Let's see, that's nozzles, or not nozzles, but the different, yeah, they're nozzles. Lids, dropper, that's an eyedropper one, that's okay. Let me see here, is it up here? Too many tall paint handles here. Eesh. But I want to see, so they come, I feel like these were the first ones I got, wow. These are the first ones I got that had mixing balls mixed in the paint. That came, oh no, that's not true. Reaper, I think, had little pewter skulls in theirs, which was awesome back in the day. These guys put in, so these are bottles. I did buy these at Common Ground in Dallas. Man, my tummy's a little upset. So that's been my challenge. I got something going on with my sinuses. I do wish they'd sell these. Yeah, look at the size. I have pulled these out before. So here's the ones that you can buy. These are the ones that come in the bottles. I would say definitely pull these out of the bottles when you're done using them, because they're pretty phenomenal. The little ones do a better job of getting into the edge of the bottle, so I don't know that this is ideal. But yeah, isn't that funny that they actually they sell these separately, but these come in the bottles, and they come in the extra bottles too, which is awesome. Glass is definitely not going to be a problem as far as rust or anything like that. So I guess they had the eyedropper bottles lids in this. That's pretty amazing. I don't remember that. And that was actually, I just bought what they had because it was at the store. I don't believe they had more than that. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. But I think the first time I ever started to have, this is a long time ago too, that I started to have problems with motion on roller coasters, because I used to be the great, I loved them. And even that day I went through a bunch of stuff, had no problem. But we had it happen when it was warm, like a warm day up at Magic Mountain, and I just felt terrible. So that's kind of like what I'm feeling. This sinus stuff is just really annoying. So that looks good, and it looks dry. But I'm going to do the bill first, as I said. Lid. These are, so I've shown this recently as well. They don't get tight. It just catches and then it pops, so you have to be careful. So I just do it as tight as I can without it popping, and it seems to do a good job of. Now I changed that lid. I don't like the twist tops. They're fine, and I use them, and they're not that horrible, but wow. I did not clean this. This is the thing I will tell you now that I am actually very frustrated with. I'm using some of the Army Painter ones. I think this is the one I used. No, it was not. I think I used this one, High Dweller Purple. These dry very quickly on the brush, and they leave, you can't really see it because it's so tiny, but they leave a little film of that stuff while you're working. It does not dissolve or anything like that. And what happens is little flakes of that purple, unless you really clean your brush, pop off. Now, I don't think that, oh, see, that wasn't even on there. I was having troubles with Nebula here, and I think I got it all, but I had to pick off the little bits of purple that was just frustrating. I don't understand what is happening. So yeah, that was that color, this one. And then I used the purple one from Citadel for the inset stuff here. But yeah, you can see it there. There's a little bit of the purple still there here. And that's just a bummer. Like, I don't know what's going on. And you know, I have good hygiene as far as brushes go. I definitely clean them. And I often will clean them mid-paint session. You know, some people only clean it at the end of the day. And this is terrible. So yeah, you really have to clean it up. You have to clean it out with some sort of cleaner that takes off. And I mean, I brush it. It has an agitated, you know, like a little ridged bottom of the reservoir here for the water rinse well that I have, but it does not take it off unless you do that. So I'm not going to use this brush right at this point, but I will be needing it because I will use it for getting right up against the edge of the feathers, if that's what that really is. We have, Nikki and P and I are Dr. Pepper fans, and they have their new blackberry. But we like the blackberry. It's pretty cool. Nikki loved berries and cream. It's funny, I was reading, so I'm on Reddit reading Dr. Pepper stuff, which is hilarious. And somebody was saying I detect a taste of a note of cough syrup. And I did not, was the main complaint back then about the Dr. Pepper berries and cream. Nikki loved it so much, she wrote them after it went bye-bye, and she was like, is it just gone for a little while? And they're like, no, we have taken it away. And so she was bummed. Wow, that fell really far away. She was bummed. Now, these are not that flavor. Somebody was saying they wished that the flavor would go to the dark berry flavor that they had a few years ago, with relation to, it was advertised with Jurassic World Dominion. And so, and I always leave the ones that Nikki loves. Like, I don't drink very much. I don't drink very much of them because I know that she loves like the strawberry, and she loves berries and cream stuff. So, but this blackberry, we tried it out, and I guess it's a regular flavor, which is exciting because I thought it was pretty good. I don't feel like it's a cough syrup. I don't know. I will say, using this little palette, this fidget popper palette, is actually pretty good because now I use, when I'm getting these bottles of paint, I use the end of, this is not really a brush, it's designed to protect the bristles on these, the big batch of brushes I've got, but they're great to mix it in. It's probably not dark enough for his feet. It's not dark enough. Funnily enough, it really is kind of a yellow, even though I mean, I used it on Captain Marvel's Mohawk on the Mini. I should be putting it on the base. I don't know what I'm doing. Now, I thinned this a little bit. I didn't thin it. I reduced the intensity by using the contrast medium. Too many shiny things. Okay, well, I'll probably have to use a darker color, which will be fine. I'll reduce its intensity and put it on. I watched Miniac. He had a video come out a few days back about painting a full army. He's been working on it. This is week 2 of trying to get it done, I guess in time for Adepticon, which is not far away. And he was frustrated with the speed paints. He doesn't like the flow of them, and it's funny, I can totally understand, like, you know, it is a different kind of paint, but I like it. I don't have the problem about painting it on. Now, of course, I'm using a fine brush, but this is a small-ish surface where it's not too bad, and I'm not going to run into too many issues with it, I don't think, flowing beyond. And even if it does, I can touch it up with a little bit of gray, like it did there. I can also just brush away the extra little paint that went there with the brush dipped in water before I do and have kept a brush nearby to do that exact same thing where I don't have to worry about it. The problem is it always takes me so long to get it loaded up and ready to go that it's easier to just clean the brush and go for it here on the... But yeah, that park is busy like no matter what, and it was not comfortable that day. It was chilly. I'll let that dry. Layer up a little bit more of it there, and maybe it'll get to the tone I want. Did I get any souvenirs? We did not. We want to buy, amazingly enough, we didn't buy anything. We looked at some stuff, and I was trying to encourage Nikki to get a couple things. Because there were some cool shirts. But I will build a lightsaber. I will do that. And I may make Nikki do it as well, or I may just make Nikki make the one with me, or do it. I mean, she'll do it with me for sure, but I think she should make her own. It'd be fun. We have one that is specifically Nikki scaled, the Yoda one, and it's pretty awesome from when Hasbro was making those Force Effects ones. It wasn't Hasbro. Actually, Hasbro might be making them now. It was Master Effects or something like that. I remember the first time I saw those at a party, and I mean, that night I went home and ordered one. They were awesome. I definitely don't find that this one, the contrast paints have that same problem building up on the brush. Like for whatever reason, they'll come off a little more quickly. Huh. I'm not seeing that like that, but I don't know a duck's bill, so I will paint it like it is on the miniature from, gosh, I did join like the Marvel United painting group. I mean, I think it's Marvel Painting Group, but it was a lot of people showing their painted minis, and there's some great traditional painters out there, man, really doing a nice job. We also are just not buying things like that as much as we used to. And as cool as some of the stuff they have, I really think they're in their prime for cool, you know, but there's so many collectors out there, they just really grab it quick. So we were way into, I think when we started going to Haunted Mansion Holiday, we were already way into Nightmare Before Christmas. And so whenever they had some stuff, we were excited because there wasn't that much stuff around. NECA made stuff, but and they still have some great stuff. They had a great fountain and just all kinds of cool things. It just was like, where would we put this stuff? I wish I had Scott's. I would have liked to have tried his with the brighter finish, because he undercoats. He was undercoating with the spray paint. I can try doing that. I'm just not a big fan of it. I don't love the mess that standard rattle cans make. Gotta let it dry. That might, it's not done, but that might be just all that I need for orange. I don't necessarily need to use the Griffhound. Orange. It's still not dry on that beak. It's like these bulgy eyes, but squinty little. The eye part is like right in between here, so I have to figure that out. So they have his shirt as sort of an off-white. And I think I'm going to go for that. Now it's not really great with the zenithal highlighting on his hands, but I'm going to go with it as just this is his feathers. Maybe paint something on it. I don't see any kind of texture on theirs. Doesn't mean I can do whatever I want, but I don't know that I'm going to try to paint a feather texture. I think I would go crazy. But I'm always intrigued by the opportunity to try it. Okay, so the shirt, it's got to be a super light tone. I wonder if I can just use a paint. Standard, I have that whole set. Yellow, ice yellow, desert yellow, Dorado skin. I don't think that's it. Barbarian flesh. Topaz skin. They actually have a few skin colors in here. Onyx skin, which is cool. Do they have like a pallid flesh? Necrotic flesh. There you go. I won't use that though. Although that might work. Let me see. It's a green, so. I might try it for the flesh and do a white. It's my first time using this one, and I don't hear the mixing ball yet. There we go. Starting to get there. I don't know. I don't think the green's going to do it. I'm going to put that back. It is cool, though. They have quite a few flushes. Oh, wrong place. Right here. I think I'm going to use this tan. Let's see if it'll mix. This is a bone color from Nitro. Nitro is, I mean, they're still around at Cell, but they don't do this. They had something they run, and I swear I think this was 20-something years ago. I can't imagine I still have these paints, but they must be. Some of them have never been opened. But it's good paint. It's made by HMG, which is the they've made GW paints a couple of times. Back in the old days, well, it is a little tired there. Back in the old days, and then they went to France. I don't know if they came directly back, but the HMG was making their paints as recently as a few years ago. Which is cool, you know. But these guys don't make paints anymore. I'm sure I probably bought these on closeout. I feel like I did, but I don't recall. Because I bought other paints, one time on closeout, and those were okay too. They're made in Canada. Just not great. And I was moving away from them, and they took up a lot of space because I think I had at least 100 bottles or something like that of that stuff. And so I gave them to a friend, like for them to get started on it. And then I gave the other set, because I bought 2 sets. I gave the other set to Nick. I don't know if he kept it or got rid of it. I wouldn't blame him. Because, you know, if you like, he likes Vallejo. I like modern Vallejo. I don't love because I have some bottles of the older Vallejo stuff, and I just don't love it. The only one I really liked was this, the metallic medium, and I have one also from, maybe it's not here, Pro Acryl, Spain. Okay, I'm going to put a mixing ball in there so it mixes it up good. I spent a little while mixing up the orc green that they have from the Nitro set as well, and it took a little bit of effort. I will put a few drops of distilled water in there. I have their white that I've used it. I didn't really like it. The first white I really liked is the Pro Acryl titanium white. Bold titanium white, is that what it is? Got hiccups. Just titanium white. No, it's bold titanium white. They also have a heavy titanium white that is the same paint, just less fluid. I watched yesterday a video from Ninjon where he was using that paint for the rings on armor, which looked good. He was doing non-metallic chainmail. It was cool. It's better. So now I need to put a little white. I think I'll use my traditional. I might even just use this for the pinstriping. It looks pretty good. I would like to use this and do the shirt. I think I'd like to use this that I bought. This is a primer. Nope. The base medium, and it sort of makes paints into speed paints. Let's mix that up. Let's see what it says about mixing. How much? How much craziness? Do not ingest. It does not have any directions. But I'm excited to try it. I watched wow, what was that? Oh, that's the ink. I watched video from Lila Mev, which was pretty good, where she was explaining it, and it looked pretty great, so I immediately ordered it. And I've had it for at least a month, and maybe more, and I haven't used it yet. I try not to buy too much stuff, but as you've seen, recently I just bought a new airbrush, which I really don't need. The reason why I actually did get it, though, is I think it'll be easier for me to clean on the fly, which I'm trying to do more of. I mean, I'm always particular about caring for my brushes, but in that case, wow, they don't have any kind of directions on it. So let's just add a drop or two. And now I don't really need it to be a contrast paint, but I want it to be that kind of consistency, and they don't have good whites. GW does not have good whites. As you know, the reality is to do the contrast, you need to have something else going on, and that's why they don't do that. That is probably too much contrast medium for the amount of white that I'm going to paint here, or whatever their medium is. Cuttlefish Genesis. What was this over here? Oh, that's the varnish. Like, did I put it twice? I think the warmer color will be better with the burgundy. Although, you know, it's got purple in it, so it could be a cooler mix. I think I'll use the gray. Actually, I don't need to. I'm afraid that it will tint the color, because although that gray is warm, which isn't neutral to me. It says bright neutral gray, but I'm fussy about whites and grays. I actually want to buy all their grays. I like them a lot, so I'm going to probably get them. I haven't ordered. I keep getting ready to pull the trigger. I'd like to buy Vincent Venturella's purple, which looks amazing. I should have just bought the set when I was at Gen Con, because I did buy Louise Sudgeon's the Rogue Hobbies, and it's a great set. I've used it a little bit now, and I'm eager to try more. She actually had a video the other day that was quite cool, where she was painting the Crayon Eaters faction that I guess is from, because you can customize everything in Space Marine 2. Wow, no paint coming out. It must not be mixed yet. And they just, of course, people went crazy and put colors all over the place. So she designed it on her live stream and then implemented that paint job, and it turned out really neat. Hey, Taylor Designs, how you doing? There's some paint that's coming out of the tip as I was tightening it, so, I say. One of the things you can do with a white and, hey, there you go, splotch. Boy, that is just, this is the oldest bottle of Pro Aquarel I have. This is the one I actually am looking to replace anyway. It's getting to where it will be empty soon-ish. But I'll use it up. It's not terrible at all. It's just, you definitely need to mix the whites more often and more. It's pretty pale yellow, but it should work. I cannot believe that crash that happened, and I don't know what's happened. I haven't seen anything about it. I saw videos last night of what was going on, and I was blown away at what had happened there. It's very shocking. Like, how does it flip? And thankfully, everybody got out of there. Not everybody was uninjured, but it was still pretty decent. So I don't imagine this is going to look anything like a contrast medium. A contrast paint. I will probably paint some folds and stuff, since I'm going to just... I really don't generally do the whites anymore. I just let the airbrush be the bulk of that work. See, this is going to be a bummer. It needs to be thinner. Oops, on his arm. We were probably going to do a regular game night with this game when we get... I'm trying to finish phase 1 of the Marvel United minis. And I'm getting there, but I still have a good 40 or so to paint, probably. Well, that's not even correct. I have 6, 11, 16, 22 further ones to paint that aren't even primed. I have others that are primed, so that's 22, 23, 24. Maybe 24 or 5 to paint from the first wave for myself, and probably more than that for Scott. And then Dan's, I think, are a little more like Scott's number left. It's out of focus. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm having a problem with it, as I usually do with whites. I just don't love them. They come out chalky. And I'm not really doing it thin enough. That's really what I think I need to do, is just thin it out down even more. Hey, thanks for the follow. I do not see it. Let me see if I can zoom in on it here. Oh dear. Dearie dear. I don't know why it's not showing. It was working last week. Let me just go to the other computer and see. No, it's 14 hours. Why doesn't it not show up? Well, anyway, thanks for the follow. I'm sorry. Maybe it'll show up in the chat on the other one. That is usually where I get it. Oh, man. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Mac fan. Doesn't show. Well, thank you so much for the follow. I wish that worked. I tested it just before I went live, and it wasn't working, and I was like, oh. I need to check it out and figure out what's happened. So what I might do is just do a wash. It's still kind of drying up. The lightest of washes, though, I don't want this to come out so dark. It is a whitish t-shirt, and not t-shirt, button-down shirt. Put a little more water in here. Particularly on the collar, it's going to be a problem. Because it's very close to the face, and who knows? This is so annoying. Okay. don't know what is going on with this music. Pitching, phasing. So yeah, if you build it up a little bit more, it's thinner. It definitely does a little bit better job of not concealing any of the details. I'm not sure that the other one had that problem or not, but that's too much paint there. Another great video I watched recently was Vincent Venturella's video painting a a veil or something on a bust that right on the coat, vest twice. That was amazing. It's a really good video to see that. It's a technique I don't know that I'll ever run into, but man, it was amazing looking. He has another video painting something else, but man, those are great. Okay, okay. Got on the other side, didn't even notice. Not good. Now I could touch that up, but I'd rather not. Makes the case that I probably should have primed the whole thing, varnished the whole mini. Boy, it's tight. It's tight, and this is a big mini. This is not that tight. Okay. Okay. Hey, Board Games James. They did just fund the Witching Hour, which was literally just a pre-order, specifically a pre-order on CMON. Witching Hour is the X-Men with Agatha Harkness, and there might be 2 new models, and then the rest are like a different version of Juggernaut. That might even be one of the different models, I don't know. And then, you know, Gray Hulk. I don't know that they have the Red Hulk, although I think you kind of, I mean, you don't have to have the painted colored plastic to do that. But I don't know that there's a card for the Red Hulk. Let me look at, oops, wrong screen. They've changed the miniature a little bit. Nah, maybe that's just, I think they're thinking that's a collar, so they're changing the orientation. Okay, let's do the other one before. I have a lot of that paint, so I'm way more than I need. This is not working. Thanks for the follow. I'm not sure who is following us, but let me go to the, see if by chance it shows up on here. I don't think this is working here. I know that's not working, the pop-up of it. Well, let me look at that. Just that. not seeing it clearly. Okay, so it was Champion Haircut was the one earlier. Wonder why I don't see this one here, but anyway. Thank you so much. I'll see your name in a moment. Mention it when if I see it here. I am getting close to being done for the day. I have an episode to review for Game Night. They did have at Disneyland the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln is closed. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure that. I don't know what the attendance is on that one. I mean, I'm still shocked to see the Tiki Room still going. We did not get on that. We wanted to, but I think we had the Indiana Jones opening on the Lightning Lane, so Yeah, I was saying I watched a Lila Mev video that where she was doing texture. She was like advocating for not necessarily always doing a smooth blend on stuff, which is definitely in more my alley. Though I would like to get better at smooth blends. I'm okay. Oh goodness, got a raid. Thanks everybody. Sounds terrible. I don't know what's going on there. Thanks so much for the raid. I don't know who it is. Let's see if we can figure it out. Cost Games was recent. I don't know if that was the... Thanks so much. Oh, it is Opcost Games. Thanks for the raid, Opcost Games. Let's see if the other one mentioned here. Maybe Zealfishy, but I think that says 14 hours. I don't know what the other one does. Close a few other apps. That is on the other machine, and there's barely anything on. I'm not even sure what's going on there. It shouldn't be doing that, but it sometimes gets better. I mean, the music's playing perfectly fine. This is the same source. For the most part, I've noticed a few little glitches. But yeah, I'm painting Marvel United. This is Howard the Duck. It's going okay. I have some stuff I want to do to that. Oh, Iridia today. That looks good. Glad you're here. I hope you had fun. We are hoping, I mean, I'm almost done for the day. We're hoping to do this on the show again. We did a Marvel United a few years back with the first wave. And I would like to do, wow, that's too intense. So it needs to be really thinned out, or let's see. I've never done it on the dark surface, so we'll see how we go here. I'm going to put a little bit of, making a mess. But I want it to be much, probably just water. Let's see here. Yeah, we use another piece of software called, I don't really have anything. I do have, well, let me look. Well, it doesn't matter. I guess I can close, but I have the chat open, so I don't know. But it has its own software, and it's been recently updated, vMix, that we use to run our streams. It's pretty good stuff. We were introduced to it through another guy, and because we used a lot of streaming software before that, but vMix is pretty good. It does a good job on our live shows when we do those, which we haven't done. You know, live. I mean, this is live, but when we used to do convention shows, we used it for a few years. I might be making this too thin. probably too thin. One of the things you definitely would consider doing is, so part of the issue, it could be, I've done faces with the varnish before. I've never done pinstriping with the varnish underneath it before. It's not a big deal though. You want it to, I'm going to do it on this. Too much, too wet. Let me just do it on a stripe again. It's harder painting on this ridge. Well, let me fix that one and come back to that. It's mostly there though. There we go. Now you can definitely fix these little flares that I'm having here with some of the red. The flare is not, the striping is not ideal. You have to go, because the legs, it tapers so much on the legs. It looks a little odd. They were like V's on, wow, is it going in there? They're like V's on Kingpin. I think this is going to be similar. I'm having a hard time here getting it. I think it might not be thick enough, which is pretty funny because I just thinned it out quite a bit, but I don't want it to be too strong. It also might be the varnish, which might have a bit too much sheen on it. I'm probably going to knock these down a little bit with the red too on the I don't know. The intensity of this light color will also draw down a little bit as it dries. It's okay. Let's see here about the bill. Big splotch right there on the ground, which I don't care for. Do I have the sepia? I know I do. I think I want to use this. Hey, time roller. So yeah, these washes are a little different than they used to be. So I'm just going to do a little edge here to integrate the two. Gosh, don't risk it falling over. And these are stickier than I recall the other ones being, you know, like as you're using them. Putting on more than I did on the other side. Don't know that I want that. maybe? There's not as many folds on this side for you to even notice it though. Well, the pinstriping's looking pretty good there. That was just the sepia bringing it down a bit. I'm going to go with that, I think. Well, cool. There we go. There is a sort of getting there done. Not quite yet. Howard the Duck. Zoom in a little bit on it. Okay, he looks cool though. The pinstriping looks cool. I do need to do a little bit more work, but some of those lines went down straight on their own, you know, one go. I don't know. Definitely is a little too light on the other side. So I'll probably put a little bit of the red on there. Thinned out version of the red. And I will probably put a little bit in there to fix those lines. Now these, I probably will need to use an acrylic standard paint, hobby paint to do that. Well, cool. Let me get to the correct system here. Oh, there it is. Cool. Let's see if we can raid somebody. Oops. Man, I am having tough luck here. I'm using a tiny version of this window. Let's go big since I'm not going to be... I don't know how you do that on this one here. Anyway, so let's go to the stream manager. He says so confidently. Probably going to do Loozapalooza. Creator dashboard, I think. Nope. Stream manager. I don't know what they're taking me to when I do that. Maybe I'm on the viewer page. So let's see who we follow that is on here. If anybody sees anything. Human Torch, Dave Luza. Gee, Dave, what do you think? What do you want to do tonight? Same thing I do every night. He's playing video game of Sid Meier's Civilization 2. Boo. Hey Dylan, thanks. Marvel United Figures, wish I could do the same to mine, but I don't really like the game that much to do it. I see it. Dylan, it's not that hard. You should definitely pick a game that you like and try to do this technique. It is not that hard, and things look pretty good. I mean, these are a little more effort than I would normally probably do here. I don't see anybody to raid. Let me see if there's any other board gamers. Derek does a better job than I do with this. Like, he knows more of the streamers because he likes to know them, so sort of vetting them, making sure they're not filled with profanity. Could certainly get there. I don't see it. Anyway, maybe Time Roller's going. He generally is, or is going soon. Starts at, is it 1 already? It is 1. Let's see if Time Roller's up. He might have been just, I don't understand this. Looks like he's going. Well, I don't know what he's doing, but let's rate him. I don't know what Valorant is. Can I raid that one? Maybe because he's not playing board games. Maybe he's not playing board games. Wow. I don't know why I don't see him at the top. We follow him. Oh, you know, he just started, so maybe. Nope. Wow. Time roller. Can we just rate it, please? So frustrating. That is not time roller. That is why. Huh, okay, well. I guess that's what we're gonna do here. Okay, well, let me cut back to me again. I don't have anything set up right here. I don't know what I clicked to. Well, cool, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for the chatting. We will be back on Thursday with something for game night. We don't know what. We haven't decided yet. Something hopefully new. I'd be interested in that. And I hope you guys have a great week. It's a little chilly, but it's getting warmer here. Actually, it's much, much warmer than it's been. I hope you have a great week. And I guess we'll be here Thursday, but then that's going to be near the end of the week or end of the month, right? Let's see, Thursday will be, no, it'll be the 20th. We got another 8 days. So my mom's birthday is screwy because she's right at the end of the month, so beginning of next month. So it's always messy with the daylight saving. You guys take care. Have a great one. And thanks again for joining, and thanks for your support and for following and everything else. Okay, everybody. Let me see if I can do this correctly.